A very good morning, traders, and welcome to this daily market update where I discuss the major dollar pairs, the potential trade opportunities, and of course the fundamentals as well. Now, today is a massive day because we have the Fed's key inflation measure going to be released. It is core PCE price index month on month, and if the data comes in higher than expected, this could strengthen the dollar. If it is lower than expected, the dollar may weaken as rate hike expectations will cool. Okay, so understand that if PCE or if the inflation comes down lower than expected, then what we should see is that the dollar or that euro dollar should push up higher. If the number comes out higher than expected, EURUSD should push down lower. As simple as that. So what have we seen now after grabbing liquidity underneath these two equal lows that we had over here, and obviously now a 4-hour change of character? Now, we've seen some bullish momentum coming into the market. Remember, I talked about this descending price action, not a lot of bearish momentum at all. We swiped the internal lows over here of the, let's say, overall range, and we're now looking for potential further upside here on EURUSD. Now, again, this is heavily going to be influenced by the data that is going to be released today on New York Open. So do keep in mind that this overall technical analysis is subject to the news being released. But what I can see here very clearly on the 4-hour time frame is that that 4-hour change of character got broken. Now, this now means that this area of demand, so this overall sell before the buy, that is now your overall demand zone that is currently in control, and that should push the market up higher. Overall, this here is your 4-hour fractal low, and we could also refine the overall demand zone just to simply this sell before the buy candle. So this sell before the buy candle over here, this is your refined 4-hour demand zone, and from here the market should push up higher. Now, what I'm looking for is another 4-hour fractal break. If that 4-hour fractal breaks as well, then I'll have much more confidence that your USD is ready to push up higher. This could obviously just be a liquidity grab to confirm that that is not a liquidity grab. Ideally, you want to wait for kind of like a second change of character, but obviously if you're like already, let's say, ready to look for those long positions, this is an initial long position that you could take back up to the overall range high, in my opinion. So that is a good trade on your USD. Again, it is still subject to news. If you want a little bit more confirmation, wait, for example, on this high break, put your stop loss kind of like a little bit tighter, but then again, you'll see that you're going to have to hand in some risk to reward over there. Furthermore, on the daily time frame, we saw a very strong daily candle close yesterday here on euro dollar. We grabbed again the liquidity underneath this low, and I'm now looking for that upside continuation once again based on what I've currently seen from the 4-hour. Remember, the overall market structure is bullish after seeing this break of structure here. Now, again, everybody's waiting for kind of like this key level of support and resistance to get hit before looking for longs or for this area of demand. But we understand that liquidity over here, so this internal liquidity low, that might already be enough to push the market up higher. How do you know if it's going to be enough to push the market up higher? We follow the overall 4-hour fractal structure. So keep your eyes open for this demand zone or the overall sell before the buy here, which for now should push the market up higher. Overall, as long as this low over here is respected and this low as well, yeah, we should definitely push up higher on EURUSD, but the kind of like the ultimate confirmation will come once we break this blue line over here for myself. So that's EURUSD for now. Looking at the dollar itself, we can see that the dollar pushed down lower again yesterday after causing a change of character. So as I mentioned, pretty much at any point in time could the dollar index continue pushing down lower with the overall trend that we have here. So the overall immediate trend is in towards the downside. This is your area of consolidation. We take out the range high, and then what you want to see obviously is the change of character. So we got that change of character because this change of character low over here, which broke this change of character high, got broken, and that now means that this here is your current 4-hour fractal high. So as long as this 4-hour fractal high is respected, the market should continue to push down lower. And for today, I'll be keeping an eye open to take out all of these ascending lows here on the dollar index. So that for me holds the main focus. Obviously, the dollar overall is a little bit consolidative, moving kind of like in a little range over here. So not expecting too much until PCE drops or the inflation numbers drop. But overall, for me, I am still favoring a further downside push here on the dollar index. If we do push up higher with the news, then I'll be keeping an eye open for one of these 3 areas of supply, from where again I'll be looking for further downside on the dollar index. So the immediate market structure is showing me, okay, we're ready to head down lower to take out these ascending lows. But again, with news, it could be random and we could see that spike up, and then I'll be looking for shorts from one of those 3 areas of supply. Now, pushing onwards into AUD USD, I'm still in that long position. Again, I get a lot of questions in my DMs. Fabio, are we still in? Yes, I am still in. Market is consolidating and waiting for PCE to drop. Still looking for that for the upside push. Yeah, what can I make of it? Not that much, to be very honest. It is still looking good in my opinion. Going into the weekly time frame, first of all, the weekly fractal structure is still very bullish for myself. I'm still looking for a higher push up. Overall, again, we have here a liquidity low. We take out the liquidity. We also, again, on the initial reaction up, take that liquidity as well. So this is kind of like a double sweep, or whatever you want to call it. And now the immediate market structure here is bullish with this sell before the buy being in control. We tap in towards there, and I'm now looking for the upside continuation. So based on the weekly, it makes a lot of sense for myself. Overall, just looking as well, if you would view this as a bearish impulse for a retracement, at least in towards the 0.5 fib. So from a weekly perspective, it makes a lot of sense. And then if I look here at the daily time frame, we can see that we are at a key level of support here, which is supporting price, obviously resistance, support. So looking for that next push up. Overall, the immediate market structure as well. Here we have a break, here we have another break. So for myself as well, it's just looking good, and I like what I see. Overall, we are bouncing off, or we bounced off the 0.5 fib off of discount here, and then we form another internal trend here. We sweep liquidity underneath this low over here. That's why I think that my stop loss is pretty safe and nice over there. And now just looking for this overall uptrend to continue up higher. But yeah, we need some bullish momentum. So let's see. And yeah, hopefully news can do something good. For now, we need to break the overall, let's say, high over here. This is kind of like the immediate market structure high that is in control. But again, yeah, I think that if we start to break these highs over here, will be very, very good. It could just push down lower once again, maybe even swipe these lows with news. So do keep that in mind as well. But yeah, stop loss is placed safely in my opinion. So that's what I'm looking for on AU. Not really looking for a lower time frame setup due to the consolidative nature of AUD/USD itself. Going into GBPUSD, GBPUSD did something very similar to euro dollar. Again, as I mentioned actually in yesterday's video, remember the lower time frame price action, because yes, we have an area of supply here, right? So we're inside supply. So everybody's looking for that potential short opportunity. The immediate market structure is bearish in towards the downside. We see a break up. So after break of structure, what do you expect? You expect a pullback. When you expect a pullback, when number one, you come into a supply zone, and when number two, you have what? You have a market structure shift. So did we get that bearish market structure shift? Yes, we did. So overall, what we saw here on GBPUSD was a break up. Then we saw here a break down. Then we saw here another break down. And then yesterday I mentioned that this kind of like these two imbalance candles, that was your area of supply. So then inside of that supply zone, you're looking for potential short opportunity. Then inside of that daily supply zone, you have a 4-hour supply zone over here. So remember, I mentioned on the 1-hour time frame that we tapped into that supply zone, but that the supply zone itself was not very strong because there were still equal highs left over here, which were still open, and that's why this over here didn't really push the market down any lower. Also, if you look at the 15-minute time from yesterday, you did have this area of supply, but I was again not a big fan of it. I was waiting for a little bit more momentum to come in, and as well I also mentioned, okay, here the lows have already been swiped, and here the lows are still open, and then you see, okay, we swipe the highs, and then from there onwards we've just been manipulating a lot. Also, if you look, remember at this piece of price action that we have here on your chart, this is very similar to what we had over here as well, where you have kind of like the ascending correction, you have the ascending correction, and then you have the, let's say, break of structure. Here you had the break of structure as well, and then this supply zone didn't really achieve anything, and now again, this immediate supply zone also did not achieve anything. So very similar price action. Nice to see those patterns, a lot of manipulation going on, and yeah, that's why I personally stayed out of GU myself, because of the consolidative nature, and as I've been saying for already quite some time now, I think the entirety of March, or since the second week of March, GU is very manipulative and consolidative. Here we had the equal highs, those have now been taken out. So if you are looking to short, now is getting a better time, because if you look at this from like a range perspective as well, you're pretty much at the 75% mark again, and then you see again the 75% mark acts as an area of resistance. So if you like kind of like limiting and you want to take a little bit aggressive setups, then you can always just kind of like take these kind of setups. I'm not saying that this is going to play out or that I would take this myself, but if you kind of do want to get into shorts, then just look when the market is in a range for the 75% level and identify the liquidity highs. and yeah, these liquidity highs got taken out, and then you see the bearish reaction. So interesting to see. Take notes. Supply will always be stronger when it actually grabs liquidity, and that's why personally I was not a big fan of this supply zone over here, because again, you have equal highs over here, and you see the equal highs get taken out. So a supply zone will always be much stronger. For example, this buy before the sell here, this is a supply zone that pushed the market down lower because it took out the previous high. This supply zone over here is weak because it still has open highs open, if that makes sense. So that's GU. Personally, it's just ranging, so not really much to say. Overall on the daily, we've now seen a daily fractal structure shift. So here we had the low break, here we had the high break, so the daily fractal high break, which broke this previous low. So overall, from a mechanical perspective, you're seeing now this, and now it would make sense to push up higher. I would wait for today's daily candle close, see if this kind of like this sell before the buy really is a demand zone, and then next week I'll just be looking for more longs probably on GU once again. If we today see kind of like a candle close over here, and I'll just be looking for further upside. If today obviously it could just dump again, then we'll just wait for the daily fractal low to break again, and then we'll have some potential more shorts on our hands once again. Going into NZD/USD, we can see that NZD/USD is also still a valid long for myself. I'm still in this. It's also just slow and consolidative. I'm just waiting for PCE to drop, and still in this. Overall setup still makes a lot of sense for myself. At a key higher time frame area of support, no really need for clarification on that. And then furthermore, the immediate market structure is bullish here on the weekly, also looking for, and then from a fractal perspective, that's what I'm referring to with bullish. And then also if you look at this in the terms of swing, the 0.5 fib is still open, and I'm actually just looking for us to take out this high over here very, very soon. So that's pretty much just what I'm looking for on the higher time frame. Then on the 4-hour time frame, the immediate market structure is bullish as well, with a break, and now obviously this as demand, looking for this to push the market up higher. It could still manipulate, maybe take out some more lows, whatever. Maybe it's just going to dump into the absolute downside. But for myself, from a dollar perspective and from a risk on perspective, I'm happy with this setup, so I'm still staying in it. And again, as I have mentioned now in the past few days, if you want the higher probability setup, you wait for either this low to go over here, and then this here becomes your fractal high, or you just wait for now for the fractal high to go, which is the dotted line. Then this becomes a demand zone, and then you look for longs. That's what I would do if I were you, and you're a little bit risk averse and want a little bit more certainty. Wait for that, or you could enter now. It's completely up to you. No financial advice, obviously. Going into USD JPY, USD JPY is pushing down lower again. Overall, the daily order flow is still bullish. We're now back inside of this demand zone over here. Inside daily demand, the daily order flow is still bullish. I am not looking for shorts. In my opinion, we still have this high open as well, and the immediate order flow is still bullish, or the daily fractal structure is still bullish. Only once this blue line breaks, then I would be interested in maybe a short back down into the weekly demand zone, which is still open and untapped. Keep an eye open for that overall is what I would say. That's pretty much what I would be looking at. So if you're looking for shorts, wait for the daily fractal structure to shift. Otherwise, longs are still potentially on the table, but overall not the cleanest price action. We are coming back down in towards this overall sell before the buy, which could, again, slow down UJ and cause a potential pullback very, very soon once again. But UJ overall is a little bit complicated in the sense that, okay, the immediate fractal structure is bullish that we see over here. But would you want to get into longs? Not really, because the overall market structure here is still bearish, right? This high over here is still kind of like your protected strong high, which broke market structure in towards the downside. So if you're looking for those longs, you would want to wait, then see the retracement, and then look for those longs and get in over here. That is my opinion. So shorts are still definitely on the table, but only until or only once we break this daily fractal low, in my personal opinion. Going into gold, last of all, gold pushed up higher once again, as I've been mentioning in all of my videos. Gold is super, super bullish. Don't try to sell it, only try to long it. What can I say? Again, yesterday we have broken out of this support and resistance level, like I mentioned, and the overall order flow again held. Here, the demand zone pushed the market up higher once again after tapping into it. There's not much that I can say to make this any easier besides just, buy gold, follow the order flow, as simple as that. Now, for now, obviously, where are the good buys going to be placed? Well, within the overall daily demand zone, which is this sell before the buy, and then anywhere inside of there, that is where you want to be looking for longs. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Wish you a fantastic trading day, and let's see what news has to bring.